In this video, we'll be creating a data collector engine in the form of a Docker container. We'll also look at deleting that Docker container, the associated image, and the resulting data collector within Control Hub. Let's take a look and see what containers are running. In Ubuntu, we'll do a sudo docker ps-a for this. There are no StreamSets data collectors running or defined as containers. Here's the code to actually create a StreamSets data collector. On the SCH Control Hub object, we can call the get self-managed deployment install script method. This will give us a copy of the install script command in relation to the current deployment. We then print out the install script command, and we add it to a ulimit command. The Docker command will be done as sudo. We then import subprocess to run this command outside of Python. And here's the command. So let's give this a try. Remember, all of the other code is still above here. We're getting the environment exists, the deployment exists, it's checking the stage libraries, and then it's downloading all of the files required to create the Docker container. And finally, it will give us a Docker container ID, as we've got here, which begins B9A455 in this case. So we should get a container created now called B9A455. We can quickly check that on our terminal window, again typing in sudo docker ps. The -a will tell you whether there is a container there and whether it's actually started or not. As you can see, we've got a container that is up 29 seconds. If I say sudo docker logs, and then B9A, which is the first few letters of our container ID here, you can see it says successfully connected to the Control Hub tunneling application, and the WebSocket session is active for Control Hub. Let's go and check in Control Hub to see if that's the case. We refresh our engine lists here. We can see we've got B9A455 as we've said. Looking at the deployment, here's the log of our engine being started, and we can see it has all been started successfully. Now let's look at deleting our data collector. We need to delete the data collector from Docker itself, not just as a container, but also as a downloaded image. So we may wish to delete both of these. We also need to delete the data collector from Control Hub. We could just delete the deployment, and that would delete all the engines from Control Hub that are associated with that deployment. But let's consider just deleting one engine underneath our deployment without touching the deployment. Let's take a look at the output of the highlighted command that we have here. This command will extract for us the container ID of the data collector. And as you can see here, we've got out B9A455. Similarly, there's a command for when we come to look at the images that we have. Let's copy and paste this one onto the command line. And you can see we have this image name here. And this is one of many images that we have. If we just do a simple sudo docker image ls, let's just try that command. You see we have many images existing. And the 5.5.0 data collector is the one that we just extracted. So we're extracting the third field from our output, which is the image ID. If there is a container ID extracted, and if there is an image ID extracted, then we can delete them both. And that's what this code is doing here. The command here is extracting the container ID by using the utility that allows us to run programs outside Python. And then we're testing to see whether that container variable actually contained anything. Similarly with the image, when we run the image command, we're testing to see whether the image variable contained anything. If the container existed, we can run a sudo docker rm-f on the container And if the image existed, we can run a sudo docker rmi on the image name. And now, of course, we also want to delete the data collector from Control Hub. So this is where we say for the deployment, my new dep1. Here, it's hard-coded. Pick up all the engines that are defined in the my new dep1 deployment. We loop through all the engines, and we may delete them all using the delete and unregister engine method against the engine's instance, or we could even delete specific ones. Let's check in Control Hub that we have our deployment and engine still running. We'll do a refresh here. We have our deployment, and we have our engine running B9A, and we can check this on the Strigo environment as well. We can see here we have B9A, so we're now able to delete this. Let's go and run our script that deletes the data collector. It finds the container ID and the image ID. It's deleting and unregistering the engine with that URL. From Control Hub, that container should now be removed. The image that the container was created from should be removed, and the data collector should also be removed. Let's go and check. Just repeat that command there, and we can see we don't have that container running anymore. This command shows that the container does not exist. Let's see whether the image exists. We no longer have a StreamSets Data Collector 550 image. We do have other versions, but we haven't touched those. So the image has been removed, and let's check finally in Control Hub. We do a refresh. We can see that the data collector has been removed, and the deployment is still intact. Thanks for watching.